Dr. Barry, London News, Melbourne, the 19th of November. Today's subject is going to be about being forced to participate in activities that you do not want to engage in. Now, we're living very sad times, and we've got to be very mindful of what words we use, because you will get taken down within a flash if you say something against the system. And for myself, I am not an anti-vaxxer. I believe, and as I said before, as an old soldier, I've been pin cushioned, and most soldiers will agree. So we've covered that. I'm going to talk about people being forced into doing something, and if they don't do it, they're going to lose their jobs. Again, as my mother used to say, you must weigh every word before you actually utter it, because someone will take offense to it. So, especially in today's society. So I put together two documents, one which you give to your employer when he says that you've got till the 15th or the 20th of this month to participate in this program because the government said you must do it. Now, we all know that the governments are private corporations, and especially here in Melbourne, where we have a man called Dictator Dan, who just makes up the rules as he go along, and it's a power grab. Personally, I believe these people will all come to justice. And in our case, with the International Common Law Court on the 24th of this month, two of these indicted criminals, well, they're not criminals yet, are they? They're just two indicted men and women, or both men actually, will go before a jury of their peers, and then that decision will be made on the 24th of this month, whether they are criminals or not. And the consequences of the Common Law Court will lead to international condemnation of these people, because they are guilty. It could be seen on reasonable grounds that they're guilty of genocide or contributing to the deaths of a number of people. So it's very serious. So back to the subject of being forced into participating in this program of theirs, which they reckon is a law, but a rule. They're not laws. They're not even rules. They're just look. The whole thing is could be seen on reasonable grounds to be nothing more than bullshit and power grab. But anyway, as I said, if you want to participate in their programs, and it's entirely up to you. Who am I to tell you not to? Anyway, this first document you send out to them, it explains that the fact you will participate in this program, provided they sign to say they will take full responsibility for the outcome of any actions being bad or indifferent or cause you any harm. Now, if you can get an employer to sign this, well, you're a better man than Gunga Din, because I can't see any of them signing it. So you do send it out anyway. But the second document explains the fact, which we'll go through in a few minutes. Failure to agree to this contract, which you asked them to participate in, they will receive a summons from the Common Law Court International to come to mediation. Now, they'll be asked to come and sit at the table. It'll be videoed, and the employer and the employee making the complaint, they will come to, if they can come to some agreement, well, great, but I can't see that happening either. And if they don't attend the mediation, then they will receive a summons to go before a jury of their peers, which is a 12 man, which means 12 women mixture anyway. And that court then will decide whether you have been caused harm or not, and have you lost money over it. The jury will make up a decision as to any money, any payment that you're entitled to. And that jury, the consequences of that court will be recorded, sent to the UK, and will be published, the fact that you have been found guilty of crimes against a man or a woman. So let's have a look at those papers first. We'll look at the first one that you send out. I have changed the terminologies in there because I have to be extremely mindful of the words we use, because we'll get picked up on it and nobody will get the information. And I do, when you're on a platform like YouTube or anything, it is their system. So why the hell abuse it or complain about it? Because I appreciate the fact that we have this system that we can communicate, and we just got to be mindful of our actions and try and play within their rules, because they own it. And I'm doing that. I love this YouTube channel, and I like helping people, and I want to continue doing that without causing any problems. So let's go and look at that first document, and then we'll have a look at the second document. And something very important is ID, as I keep reminding people, and a lot of people, look, nobody says it'll happen to me. You wait till it happens, and then you go, oh my God, you know, why didn't I do something about this? If you're asked for identification from anybody, you produce a driving license or a birth certificate or a passport, Medicare card or something. It's their system. So you're saying, yes, I am a person. But when you produce an ID that states that I'm a diplomat and I will use diplomacy to communicate on behalf of that surname in brackets, the deceased estate, nobody can tell me. You've got diplomatic immunity to a certain degree on that. And look, common law is worldwide now, and a lot of these companies are absolutely, and I call companies, that's corporations, like the government stuff, they know it exists and they're scared of it, right? Because common law is you, me, and everybody else in the country, UK, Ireland, England, no matter where you go, common law is the law of the land, and the law of the land trumps all other statute laws. Now, the statute system won't agree with that because they're bigger and powerful and they've got a lot more money, and money makes the decisions. So let's look at that document. Now, this is the first document you send out to your employer, and you send it by registered mail, and the second document as well, to prove the fact that you have actually sent it. So there's no excuse to say they didn't get it. You could hand it directly to them, but it's a good idea to have a witness who's prepared to make a statement should they deny ever receiving it. Now, this document was constructed by the Common Law Court International Melbourne, and it just basically states the statute rules only apply to persons, which is true. If you're a person and you admit the fact I'm a person, you are a corporation, and you'll find nowhere in any law you will find a man or woman found committing its all as a person. A person found committing everything is addressed to the living dead. Deceased estates at law, you persona, as a person, you are a corporation, and corporations sue each other all the time. They're having fun and they make money out of it, right? In now time, I am not a person. I am a living man or woman and have an ID to prove that. Now, as I said, the law only applies to persons. So there's nowhere in the law you will find a man or woman committing any offense. The only time a man and woman is mentioned is in the Australian Constitution in relation to marriage, a man and woman. That's the only time it's ever mentioned, right? Now, if you're asked for an ID, you produce your driving license, your birth certificate, your passport, your Medibank number and stuff. That's their system. So it's a very good idea to have an ID to say that I am. This is my identification, my date of birth, it's where I live. And this is, it clearly states that I am a living. The ID states you are a diplomat for the deceased estate. In other words, you have diplomacy in relations and you can claim diplomatic immunity. And it's common sense. Just you can research all these words on search engines and find out for yourself. I'll put a copy of the ID up to show you what it's about. Anyway, you can now prove the fact. Now, this is addressed to the owner, the manager, the CEO of the company, and then you put his name in. He's stating here he takes full responsibility for the outcome of the BS Games. Now that's been changed for common sense. Okay, and that's been changed for common sense. And then we discover the employer being forced by the company to participate in, we have to change that one as well because we have to be very careful what we say in that one. So it puts in, we'll just put down games again. Against his or any wishes. So basically the date, I am aware this is a breach of human rights and so on and so forth. You just read it for yourself. I'm not a great reader editor, if you like. Anyway, and he signs and dates it and stuff. And then the consequence of your action, we'll come down here, just read that. It tells you what it's all about. And he takes full responsibility on behalf of his company, and he signs it and dates it. Without this agreement, I am not consenting to be SED, and then you autograph that and the date. I'll have to edit those naughty words out. But if you can get an employer to sign this, well, good luck, because he's not going to do it. That's why you send the two documents. And then the consequences, if he's insisting on you play these games, he will be called to mediation. And after mediation, if it's haven't reached an agreement, then he will receive a summons to go before a jury of his peers. Hi again, this is the second document you send out. And if you have a look, I have to participate in games against their will without their full consent. Now, this is the document you send out along with the first one, which we just discussed. And the purpose of this one is that this is the consequences of failing to comply with a request to take full responsibility for what you demanding your employee does. So this goes out, and if you look down here, it goes through the common. It's a common law document. It's just basically the owner, the CEO. You'll be charged in your private capacity for contributing to undue duress, stress, unlawful conduct, liable to cause injury or a breach of a number of articles of the United Nations and other documents. Right, abusive position. It goes through all the charters and so on and so forth, right down to the punishment, right? So if the court, you come before, when they come to mediation, if they haven't reached an agreement, then they will receive a summons, and the summons then will take them before a jury of their peers of 12, and it's up to the jury to find out whether they have committed the alleged offences causing harm and loss and injury. And if somebody were to lose their job because they failed to comply with their request to play those games, well, of course, there's injury there, right? So it's quite a long document, goes out, but explains all the articles, human rights, and so on and so forth. And it gives the address of the common law court and their website as well. So this is a lawful document. It will take them to court, a common law court set up and run by the people. So it's the people's, this is the people's court. This is very important to remember. It's not mine, it's anybody. We're part of the International Common Law Court under the control of the UK, and there's about another 100 countries involved. So when you do something wrong that damages and injures a man or a woman, you're entitled to take action and get compensation for that. Who makes the decision on the compensation? The jury. If they find you the harm and loss has contributed to a financial thing, the jury then can set a penalty of thousands of dollars, whatever the case may be. One day at a time. Next. Hi, let's have a look at this new ID card. That's a photograph, just an old photograph. Just need head and shoulders. The name goes in down the bottom here in the correct manner. Again, over here. And the surname, which is the one they use to control you. It's a person. If you believe you're a person, well, the law applies to you. That's the fictional law that is. And of course, the address and this barcode, because all these IDs have an individual barcode, and it's posted out to you by registered post, and that barcode stays with you ever. That comes from Bill Turner's principles, and it really, really works. And on the back of this card, we'll have a look. We stand under common law, and with the claim of the knowledge is with the fact of truth. You see, the truth. You just read through that there yourselves nice and slowly. You see the principles of common law are humanity, caution, and prudence. And down the bottom here, if you look, to act with kindness, humanity, take care not to harm others, prudence, use common sense, good judgment, and be mindful of your actions. So it does explain what those meanings up there. And then it says no contract with, fictional laws. No contract with corporations or fictional courts. As a living man and woman, I stand under God's law. It's a fact. In all the truth to claim. It's all on there. And that's all you need to produce to say at now time, I am not a person. I am a living man or I am a living woman. Now that we have had a look at the documents and the ID and the purpose of the ID, you need, in order to drive, you need a driving license, you need a passport to go overseas. And as a living man or a living woman, you need an ID to identify yourself as such, because the system is all private corporations. And if you want to participate as a deceased estate in this corporations, well, then you carry on as normal. But the great awakening now, people are realizing, hang on a minute, I've had enough of this, and enough is enough. My God, we've had enough. And especially in lockdowns and stuff, all because of power hungry politicians, and a lot of politicians are all compromised, so they can't open their mouth because they end up, they've got something on them. If you watch the House of Cards with Kevin Spacey, that is probably one of the greatest examples of corruption. And of course, coming up to 2016, they set Kevin Spacey up, and they scrapped the program because it was too close to the border, man. It was good. But get yourself an ID, help the common law court financially or by contributing to turn up to court cases. We've just met up with a new group of people which are really, really switched on, and we will have a permanent place for small cases. So you just contact us. We have the Common Law Court website, and we have, of course, the YouTube channel addresses up there, which I'll put up. In the next couple of weeks after the 24th, after these two big cases, we'll have a lot of volunteers helping us. So you can come to us with your problem with your employer. And the law is the law, and nobody's above it. And the law of the land is the law. Everything else is fiction. These other cases, look, at the moment they're running in a parallel. The fictional or the statute system is massively powerful because they have the money, they have the police, they have the court cases, they've got everything. Well, the people are just starting back out again because all this common law, it's gone back to the 6th century. Records were kept after 1066. It just got scrapped because they want juries, they want a quick outcome, quick turnaround in the fictional system. In America, you still have sheriffs who are the people who uphold the law. They're not bound by the statute laws, which they do enforce some of them as well, but laws that are unlawful or unjust, they don't enforce them. They can decide. And they represent the people. The people elect the sheriffs then elect deputies and so on. There's no reason, well, we're doing it here. There's no reason why we can't have 10 or 15 courthouses in Melbourne, all around Australia, where the people have a chance to fight back. And that's what we're aiming at. And it will happen with or without me. Look, I'm getting old, I'll be gone. But there's a number of people who are now willing to put their hands forward and say, let's do it. And it's happening, and there's nobody can stop you because it's lawful. Remember, the law of the land, it's God's law, and it's common law, and it's common to everybody, rich and poor, hence the term common. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe to the channel, and at the end I'll put a link up for the foundation. We've got about $1,000 left in it. We need money if we had money, we'd put a vehicle on the road advertising the common law court, then a lot of people would see it and the address where they can get help. But with this problem now with losing your job because you don't comply with certain agreements with your employer, which is unlawful, unjust, and criminal, there's going to be a lot of people seeking compensation. Some of these politicians, it could be seen on reasonable grounds that they have contributed to genocide. A lot of people have lost their lives because of their ignorance and persistence in power. Anyway, it's London News signing off. Please subscribe financially if you can. Thanks to the people who are there's people putting $10 in a month. And look, that's so fantastic. And I thank you for that. But we need some of the big companies who have suffered a lot of loss of business, if they have a few dollars left, to stick it in there and help us. Anyway, our YouTube channel, which you're on now, the Common Law Court website is up there. So keep in touch with us, guys. We will be able to help you out in the very near future with your problems. Okay, bye for now.